The title of my poem is actually The Boy Who Just Wants to Be Heard. But before I go into it, I would just like to go back a little bit. Uh, it was on a Sunday morning. My father walked into my room and said, the principal needed to see him urgently. Urgently. That word rang a bell in my head, and I wonder what offense I had committed. I had a series of things I had done, punishable things I had done. Like the day I mistakenly eased at a teacher. And the day all of us dubbed the answers to a further math assignment. You know, that's just a few among other things. So I didn't know. I didn't know which one I'll be punished for, or which one my father was called for. So I dressed up, or we dressed up in our favorite Sunday wear and went. Now, imagine our surprise when we got there and the principal said, I think your daughter should be in science class. You see, she hates all science subjects. If she keeps staying in that department, she will just waste her talent. Ha. My father looked at me and said, is that what you want? Wait a minute. It's not like I did anything bad. This is the reason why you called us. I told my dad, no. He repeated the same thing to the principal, and we left. He didn't stop there. The teachers kept on coming, meeting my dad, and saying a lot of things like, she's good in biology, she's good in this, she's good in that. I don't think she should be in art class. But my father refused, and I stayed. And the battle kept on with the whole science is better than art. Art is for lazy students, people who have no future ambition. Until now, I wonder who is winning the battle. So sometimes I go back and I wonder, oh, okay, what if I didn't have a father like mine? What if the story was different and I was just a spectator? So permit me to tell you a story. Once I had a brother named Alani, a lanky black boy with eyes that glowed in the dark like a bonfire in a scout camp. But mother was a distant voice in the wilderness, preparing the way for his loneliness to find him. Father, a piece of truth that should have been hidden from him as he took flight on the wings of time and age. And I, a sister with a beautiful gown he sometimes wished he could exchange for a shirt of dull colors. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. It was some eggs left to crack, but never cracked. Until you pick it up, eat it hard on the rocks, only to realize you've been breeding stones and not flesh you could pinch blood from. But Halani wasn't just an ordinary stone. He was a dynamite breathing the fire of father's smoke and a soulless puppet in the hands of mother who has trapped his image in the mirror hanging in his locked room. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. Meanwhile, it was the book mothers wanted their sons to pluck several leaves from. It was the signature of all eyes at the town square, and the pride that set his father's name closer to the throne. Most days, Alani would come home feeling fly from the frequent praises he got from outsiders. But mother would pluck his feathers. Alani has to be better, she would say. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. But all Alani wanted to do was to play with his mates, his feet buried in castles of sand, and the giggle of pretty little ladies filling his hair like beautiful music. I remember mother pulling my hair and my sisters, compelling us to comply by father's community of rules dangling from the front door of the house. Alani has to study how to carry the weight of the family on his shoulder. So whenever we needed to talk to him, we tiptoed behind the window and watched him through a torn spot on the net as he looked on like he never existed. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. As time went on, he began to wander through the fields to pick weeds. Weeds he smoked when the reels of his stolen childhood began to replay in his head. Then he began to stumble and fall, walking blindly backwards, following his shadows wherever it went, on a quest to earn enough grains to exchange for more rows of grass. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. So he became a two-faced monster with an outward appearance of a dove. But deep inside, a wounded tiger bleeding to a slow death. You see, his ears were intact. But he never got enough credit because all we wanted from him was more. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. Alani was mother's pride. But she couldn't be his anchor, so he kept drifting away. She flaunted his grades, but forgot he was growing older than his age. She never asked if he needed to talk, or to know the content of his thoughts, or if he had bullies reddening his butt. She just lit a lamp at the crossroad, but never showed him which path to follow through. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. His father was fire. And when he puffs, Alani evaporated into smoke, a life-size ashtray of his tobacco stubs. In his father's eyes, Alani was a man with strong, broad shoulders to carry his giant hands. What he didn't know was that Alani thought his life was a living hell in a mistaken paradise. Because the only time he saw his father's teeth was when he smoked him to tell him 99.9 isn't enough. Even your 100 cannot win my full love. Alani was never a kid. Alani grew faster than his age. It was on a Sunday morning Alani's voice shook the house. The shouts of silenced house in his throat broke into audible confrontations. For the first time, he questioned father's decisions and refused to swallow any more of mother's expectations. He asked to be seen more than the body that can one day carry the weight of the home, nor as the fulfiller of everyone's failed dreams, but as a 15-year-old boy growing to be a great joy, dancing in the jumble of his excesses and accepting the slower but sure pace of his growth. And for the first time, he spoke of his dreams to paint the walls of the streets with the paintings of his imaginations and sing with pride of what's to come. Now I have a brother named Alani, a lanky black boy, not so lanky anymore, with eyes that glow wherever he goes. Thank you.